Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Great America Show. It's great to have you with us today. Thanks so much for joining us. President Trump putting the rhinos on notice. If you don't support his cabinet picks, you might not be there in 2026 or when you're up for re-election. On the docket this week, Tulsi Gabbard, who's up for Director of National Intelligence, RFK Jr. for HHS, and of course, Kash Patel for the Director of the FBI. Kennedy has a hearing before the Senate on Wednesday. Kash Patel has a hearing on Thursday. Senior White House official telling NBC News it's pass-fail. You either support everyone or you do not. The Senate needs to advise and consent, not advise and adjust. Now, there's rhino senators all over the place. The recent nomination of Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth passed on a 50-50 majority, with, of course, J.D. Vance making it inconvenient for him to go down there and cast the tie-winning vote. This was, of course, due to the defections of none other than Senator Froghorn Leghorn Mitch McConnell of Kentucky, Senator Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, and Susan Collins of Maine. It's the same culprits time and time again. These people just don't learn their lessons. Now, it's the same trifecta of rhinos who are threatening to sink Tulsi Gabbard's nomination with maybe the addition of Senators John Curtis of Utah. They don't seem to put out any good senators. I don't know what goes on there, but you guys need to get it together. Lindsey Graham, also known as Lady G of South Carolina, Tom Tillis of North Carolina, John Thune, the newly elected Senate Majority Leader of South Dakota, all have indicated they're reluctant to confirm Gabbard, a two-tour combat veteran. We expect repercussions to come if these rhinos decide they want to try to start tanking the America First agenda. I fully expect everyone to pass the Senate nomination process. And border czar Tom Homan, perhaps the hardest working man in America, has declared war on the terrorist cartels following the Rio Grande fight. It was a firefight involving Border Patrol agents. Tom Homan, perhaps, like I said, the hardest working man of the Trump administration, getting to work on day one, holding back no punches. The deportations are already underway. We're just 8 days into this administration. Thousands have been deported, and we expect thousands more. You had the fight between the president of Colombia and President Trump. We all know who won that one. And President Trump, announcing his administration has ordered a sweeping freeze on all federal grants and loans effective today. This initiative reflects President Trump's unwavering commitment to fiscal responsibility and his dedication to eliminating wasteful spending. And we know in this government, there's far too much of it. Our guest today is the great Mike Lindell. He's the founder of MyPillow, founder and CEO of MyPillow. He's also the founder and CEO of the Lindell Recovery Network. Mike, it's great to have you back with us on the show. I haven't spoken to you since Donald Trump won that decisive election on November 5th. We had an inauguration just over a week ago, and it seems we're getting more done in this last 7 to 8 days, 9 days, than we did in the last 4 years, whether it be this border that we're finally getting under control, whether it be Donald Trump replacing and restructuring the IRS, those 87,000 agents that the Biden administration hired, maybe sending them down to the border or firing them. We can go down the list. Your thoughts as we look at this first week now of Donald Trump being back in the White House?
Well, it's even more than I could ever imagine. If you'd have told me 3 weeks ago, all this would be done, and after the night, I would have said this is impossible. You can't get that much done. But part of that is he learned so much from the last 8 years, right? The 4 years and then 4 years of the bad. So all this was very well planned out, well prepared for. He put people in place and just takes out each thing as a problem solution. That's his gift. And and then you got God's hand in all this, and they combine, and it's like, this is miracles we're seeing. And it's really cool, John, that I talk to people, and that before you wouldn't even argue with them from center left, right? And they would, this is bad. The only one, even the media can't get away with it, is you see our vice president going, with the Margaret comment, I don't care, Margaret, but when I look at, just like I think it's 56 or 58% I can't even be fact checked anymore because the fact checkers got fired. But at somewhere 56, 58% of the people, of all people polled, say we got to get rid of these illegals. We got to get them back over the border, get them out of here. I mean, that's a big number. That's, everybody, and part of that is everybody got to live both the good and then the bad.
Yeah.
And you can't argue that anymore. You say, here's 4 years with Donald Trump, here's 4 years with whatever was in there illegally. I say illegally because they never won the 2020 election. Yeah, so it's everything that happened was actually God and God's perfect timing. You got this, and where we're going.
It's funny you said there's no more fact checkers. Last time we'd spoken, I think we made it on Jimmy Kimmel somewhere. They said Mike Lindell needs to be fact checked. They said something like that. So let's see if Jimmy Kimmel's watching and has a little meltdown about you saying that. But it seems like it's a new dawn and it's a new day in this country. Optimism is running so high across the board. Every aspect of the government. Donald Trump seems to have a grapple on what's going on. Just this week, we saw him in North Carolina and we saw him over in California, and he held nothing back. He had Karen Bass at the table with him, Gavin Newsom, and he basically called all these people out for their lies. The thing that made no sense to me is he's over in North Carolina, no issues, right? Sends the Army Corps of Engineers in there the next day. Right, these hurricanes happened months ago. Sends the Army Corps of Engineers in there to start rebuilding, start cleaning up some debris, getting bridges and roads back together so these people can restart their lives. And they're in there the next day. And it makes you wonder, Mike, what took the Biden administration a month, 2 months to take care of these people? But then you go look, and I say to myself, okay, maybe it's a red issue. Maybe they didn't want to help them because it's a red issue. But then you go and look over in California, and you've got that idiot Karen Bass, and you've got Gavin Newsom, and they're not letting these people back into their house for at least a month. Now, it makes zero sense because in most of these places, the fires are out. There's nothing there, Mike. There's no house there to be there. There's no dangers there. It's ash and it's rubble. President Trump comes in and sits at this round table and says, no, these people need to be back in their homes, not in a week, in just a few days. And Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, somehow in the matter of 24 hours, flips the script, and these people are allowed to go back in their houses. What was a month now turns into days. I mean, is the government that inefficient? What's behind this blatant corruption or inefficiency?
Well, it's their whole belief system too. I'm from Minnesota, where all this bureaucracy and all this garbage of if Donald Trump had not went to California and put her on the spot. She put her on the spot. She had to say, "Oh no, you can go back into your land, your own land." I mean, here's a state where they're not arresting people for smoking crack cocaine in the streets or whatever, or robbing convenience stores if you steal under $1,000 or whatever it is. I mean, but yet you're telling people, "What are you going to do to me if I don't go back on my property?" And she said, "Well, it's for their safety." And Donald Trump says, our great real president, he says, safety, they're not safe now. It was great. It was like and the difference is, here's the difference that we're seeing is the media is covering that. Even Fox News covering stuff, finally with Donald Trump. And by putting her on the spot, and you've got all the other stations too, your CNNs of the world, they know that if they don't show these things, I'm sure they're going, boy, we don't want to show what common sense this is, or not just Donald Trump, but now this new common sense party. Well, they have to. And she was put on the spot. He is very good at that. He's got it. If you notice, though, he's got just a complete calm demeanor. He did it with such grace. I mean, God's got his hand on him for this. I mean, I have seen this. It's just amazing. Here's, like put her on the spot. Well, I think a week's too long. If everybody watches it, I think a week's too long. Why can't they go back in now? You're seeing people that this was the biggest request there. Had he not gone there, some of them said they were told 18 months. 18 months they're going to start cleaning up. I'll tell you what, he's spot on. I just can't see how they could even hold people, but they're so brainwashed. A lot of these people in California. Don't get me wrong, I love California. That was what, but they've been brainwashed by this party call it the Democrat Party. I mean, this is just disgusting that, this is, we got to save this over here. We got to do this over here. And boy, this is for your own safety. It's like it's total government. I like when he said too, he said, hey, take away the regulations on the rebuilding. If they want to make it bigger and beautiful, let them go out more than they had. Don't lock this in and go there with measuring tapes and say, all these crazy things that were put into effect. And not just California, Minnesota, all these places, these big Democrat-controlled cities that none of this stuff works, because by the time you wait, it's over. It's too late. Everything they have left now is hope that Donald Trump brought him there, and common sense, and this is big. I really think it's a lot, because the media is showing this, and he is so smart, our great president, that he knows she got put right on the spot. I thought that was one of the classic moves. Well, weeks too long. Oh no, they can go on their properties now. You heard her say that.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole world's saying, did you just hear that? We had a mayor that actually said, you can go do this. I mean, I'll bet you they were just celebrating in LA going, are you kidding me? We can do that?
It makes zero sense to me. I spent some time over on the West Coast over the last week or so, and I was talking to a couple I met in Vegas about, they're from California, and I started talking to them about the wildfires, and I wanted to gauge if they were Republican or Democrat without asking. We start talking, and a buddy of mine says to them, if we didn't give Ukraine $1 billion, we could have, rebuilt California. And they sat there and they said, well, $1 billion wouldn't have mattered. You could have given the money to Ukraine and we could have still rebuilt it. It wouldn't have stopped the wildfire. So I knew right then and there that their mindset was that these people were radical. Right. So then I mentioned the $770 that the federal government is giving these Californians. And it's a slap in the face. It's a total joke. $770. Most of these houses in the Pacific Palisades are upwards of $2 to $3 million.
Right.
So $770. And I started arguing with these people, and they're saying, well, the water can't get up there. Gravity doesn't feed upwards. And I'm sitting there, I go, well, you believe we put a man on the moon, right? Okay, if we put a man on the moon some time ago, you're telling me that we can't pump water up into the hills? We have some of the most sophisticated military systems in the world. You're telling me we can't pump water up into the Pacific Palisades?
Right.
But to me, it's this mindset of these people, and I often ask myself and the guests on the show, when are you going to wake up? When are the people going to wake up and stop voting in these narcissistic psychopaths who don't care about you? Karen Bass doesn't care if you're dead, if your house is burned.
Right.
She doesn't care, if your dog is saved. It's the mindset of these people. They're in it for themselves. Gavin Newsom, another one. The guy was out locking people down during COVID as he's out in French Laundry in Napa Valley having dinner. I mean, What is it going to take, Mike, for these people, these left, I don't even know what you'd call them. I'm trying to be nice about it, but what is it going to take for them to wake up if this California wildfire situation did not wake them up?
Well, John, I believe they've already woke up. You got this bucket, the common sense bucket. And I was telling the president this a long time ago, people are pouring in, sir, over the last 4 years. I said, the more things they see, it's opening people's eyes. Now, I will tell you this, yes, there's some that will never wake up. They've been brainwashed too long. But as we keep pulling from people into this bucket of common sense, and it's going to happen more and more every day, because they're not going to have the media to keep brainwashing them, because it's too late to close the gate. The cows are out of the barn. If you did, now I'm going to segue into what I stand for, and that's securing our elections, getting the paper ballots hand counted, same day voting, voter ID. We're not giving up on that, and we're never giving up on that. That's what my teams are doing. Now, if we had a secure, and our real president said this, if we had a real election without machines, a secure election, it's overwhelming. It's 70% now, I believe, red out there, easy. You have places that are blue, that are purple. You have places that are purple, that are red. Red is bright red. You go to places like Arkansas and Alabama and South Dakota, these places that they've kept the numbers down. They're bright red. So people have woke up, and I think what's going to happen, you have the friends, like I said, that aren't going to be, you say, what's it going to take? it's going to keep taking things like these to pull everybody. But you get people over here that are seeing now, they're hearing it from people that were over there.
Right.
They need to hear it from their own people that were there, brainwashed with them again. Hey, I've seen the light. And you're seeing that all across our country. That's what you're seeing. I mean, you may never have a Democrat or even the old Republican. I call it the uniparty Republican. This common sense party is a uniting. Donald Trump's the best uniter in history. I mean, this is what it's just uniting and people. Once you're in this bucket, once you see the light, it's over. You're going to be in that bucket going, wow, that all makes sense. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
but the hardest part for me is, and I try to do it every single day, is to bring people into that bucket. Like I said, I'm over in the West Coast and I'm skiing in an area, Mike. Donald Trump lost 75-25. He got absolutely annihilated in this San Miguel County, Colorado. So I made it a point to wear my Trump hat out on the ski slopes every single day. And the looks I was getting from people, Mike, maybe 3 or 4 people gave me the thumbs up, but there were people walking by telling me it's nice that we have a dictator as a president. And I'm sitting there and I asked this woman who said he's a dictator, what makes him a dictator? He's a dictator. What makes him a dictator? And they can't answer it. They can't answer he's a racist. He's a xenophobe. It's the same playbook from 2016 that he's this bad person, but they cannot ever give a justification or a point as to what makes him those things.
No, you're exactly right. And I made a comment back in 2016. I said, everybody loves our president. Some just don't know it yet. And John, this is a spectrum here, okay, of all the people from back then, okay? Now, you had people on the right, the never Trumpers, right? That were the never Trumpers or whatever. And the people over here that were skeptical, you had something different. He's a non-politician, a businessman. So as this keeps moving over and sliding over, you get people back in 2016 on my Facebook. I could put up a picture of me and whoever, and I'd get thousands of likes. Yeah. I put up a picture of me and Donald Trump, and I'd get 1 like. You'd think I was getting shadow banned on Facebook. No, people were afraid to come on board. Even though they liked Trump, they were afraid to come on board. Now that ship sailed, and they're all on board. And then as you get into here, like when you were walking down the streets, I do it all the time. I'll be right in the inner city of Chicago. It don't matter. You will get... It's change. You'll get the person that came up to you and might have said something to you, he makes sure that there's not people within earshot because he's a coward. There's a coward. Those are the ones that are there now. He used to say it right in front of everybody, and they're going, yeah, getting these people that didn't really agree with them, but now they've moved away, so he's all alone. That person is alone, and they're going to continue to be alone. Then you have this group over here that have jumped in and said, you know what, I'm not going to speak out for Donald Trump, but I'm all for this. This is great. So you see how this is shifting, and pretty soon it's all united, and you have this fringe over here that's not going to change. And for those to change, the media would have to go the other way and start saying the truth to these people over here and going, hey, we were wrong. We were deceitful. We were lying. We were like the Facebook fact checkers that covered up the truth every single day.
Yeah. I'm fine with that. The silent majority of folks, I'm fine. Not everybody, Mike, can be as vocal as you and I. People have jobs. I understand there's repercussions that people have to deal with for supporting Donald Trump. It shouldn't be that way. I'm not justifying it. I'm not saying it's right. It should never be that way. That's not America. But I'm fine with those folks who have to stay silent because they have these good jobs in Wall Street. They have these good jobs where they have to be, and they support him behind the scenes. That's fine. That's just as good, Mike. It's a vote's a vote, right? 1 vote, 1 person. Or if you're the Democrats, it's 3-4 votes, 1 person. But, that's just as good with me. I want to take a quick break here, Mike. We're talking with the great Mike Lindell of MyPillow. When we return, I want to talk about the media and the accountability. You and I really aren't fans of the media. We have someone who may be leaving a very big news network. It's a man with Trump derangement syndrome. We have some news to break on the other side of this break. We're coming right back with Mike Lindell. Stay with us.
Just like all of you, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and nothing worked. I'd flip-flop all night, use my arm for support, and fall asleep, or I'd wake up with a sore neck or maybe a headache. Well, quality sleep comes from keeping your neck straight at night. You have to fill in that space between your head and your bed.
That's why I invented My Pillow. My Pillow's patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs, and it doesn't matter if you sleep on your back, stomach, side, or any combination of all three.
When I got My Pillow, I'm asleep almost immediately. I stay asleep at night and I wake up more well-rested in the morning.
So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to get Classic King My Pillows for only $19.98. Queen size just $18.98. Standard Classic My Pillows only $14.98. That's right, only $14.98. Plus all orders $75 or more ship absolutely free.
Folks, we're back with the great Mike Lindell, and right before we went to break there, I promised we had some news to give to you. This is some reporting from Oliver Darcy, who left CNN to start his own news organization called Status News. Darcy is reporting that Jim Acosta, within a matter of days or weeks, is out at CNN. This came after CNN threatened to move Acosta to 2 a.m., midnight or 2 a.m., for a showtime. Everyone knows that's the graveyard shift, Mike, and there's nobody watching CNN during the day. So what can you imagine is happening at right. midnight, 2 a.m.? Right. The only place, by the way, I ever see CNN on is I travel a lot, is in the airports. It's really the only place. And I think that's where they're getting their ratings. But this might be, Mike, a step in the right direction. This is a man with severe Trump derangement syndrome, a man who cannot fathom what truth and facts. I think if there's a place for Jim Acosta to go, it's to go work with Adam Schiff, because they have the very same mindset of lying and deceitfulness. Your thoughts?
Well, it shows you that CNN is shifting. And I've always said this for a long time. The media on the left helped save our country. They did. They attacked when places like Fox News and Newsmax went silent and wouldn't talk about the 2020 election. All conservative media went silent. By those guys attacking, and our voices kept on saying, hey, we have problems. And if they didn't attack, if they're just silent, it's a bad deal. That's when I formed Lindell TV, by the way, back then in the spring of 21. And I want to talk about Jim Acosta in particular. When I was seen at the White House, the very famous picture of me on the phone, and all the media comes over the hill, and they had papers I was given from some lawyers to the our real president at the time. And I remember I called a quick call, because I have all the left media on my phone, all of them, every single reporter. And I'm on the phone with one and telling them that what really was the story from that famous White House picture. This is the day it happened, within minutes of when it happened. And the next one that beamed in, Jim Acosta, and he goes, Mike, you're at the White House, blah, blah. And I go, Jim, I'm on the phone with the real reporter. I said, do you want to hold? Yeah. He held for 35 minutes, okay? Now, and as I actually became really kind of strange friends with all these guys, and now Jim, the last time he called me was basically, when these guys call me, I filibuster them. I just keep talking. And I remember Jim, I'm sitting in a hallway at some big event, and he's going, Mike, I said, Jim, I'm trying to secure our elections and save your country so you have a job. And Jim goes, oh, you got it all figured out, huh? And I go, and he goes, well, and then he said his thing, and he goes, and I always know where their hit job's coming from, what they're going to do. And Jim tries to, come from a different angle. And I go, Jim, this is reality. So I start telling him, he goes, Mike, I know you're busy. And I go, no, Jim, I got all day. If you hang up the phone, you can lose my number. So none of these guys, okay, if they call me, they're going to get an earful. And Jim, he was the one that attacked me when I went in the Rose Garden and spoke out in the spring of 20, right before the China virus, from the Rose Garden. Jim was one of the interviews. I did 109 interviews, but Jim was attacking. He was the one that went on an attack. And then you got the pillow guy talking about God from the Rose Garden. At least he acknowledged that there was a God, right? Right. Jesus Christ. But and then I went on Lou's show. That's the first time I went on Lou's show back then. And I had Lou just laughing. I go, Lou, they're all just evil, just pure evil. And I'll remember him belly laughing on his show. But I'm going to, and Jim hasn't called in a long, long time. And some of these, And this is what I'm sitting here missing. I go, wow, they're not even attacking me right now. And I do need to keep getting the word out that we've got to get to paper ballots hand counted. But it's a big shift. CNN, and they know that just by bashing, even their own audience sees all the good things that are happening now, and all the bad things they went through in 4 years. So they don't believe CNN anymore. They're not going to put up with that. That's why you got the worst one. They want to move till after midnight. You know, I would like to have Jim over at my Lindell TV. I would hire him in a heartbeat just for comedy, just for people to have. Can you imagine having him there going,
oh my goodness.
Breaking news, Donald Trump, it would be like a comedy.
I never thought I'd see a day where the attacks on you would relent, but it seems like, I haven't even thought about it, but it seems like over the last 2 months or so, the attacks on you have sort of, I'm not going to say stopped, because they definitely haven't stopped. You're being attacked from every angle for these last 2 months, from Colorado secretaries of state to the federal government to this people. But it seems like they've maybe relented on you a little bit. But the way I see it as, Mike, is they have so much to deal with right now. These left mainstream media, I mean, every mainstream media outlet's leftist, but they have so much to deal with. And speaking of Jim Acosta, the last time I watched Jim was earlier this week. He was on with Tim Burchett of Tennessee, who's Tim Burchett is the congressman from Tennessee, is probably one of the nicest, most likable people you'll ever meet. He's nice to everybody, left, right, doesn't matter what you are. And Acosta gets him on there and tries to steamroll him. And I've never seen Tim get angry, but he had enough with him, and he absolutely levels him. And it was with the January 6th stuff. So I actually want to get your thoughts on this as we segue into this. The January 6th, I often get asked, should everybody have been pardoned? Should the nonviolent people have been pardoned? Should the people who have been violent not been pardoned? What do you think? And the way I look at it, Mike, is the DOJ overcharged probably everybody. Well, there are 1,500 of them. They overcharged everybody. So how do you differentiate who actually did violent things and who didn't? If you opened a door, maybe they said you forcefully entered the building. That can be considered a violent protester, okay? DOJ charges you with that. I'm happy he pardoned every single person. We know we had 30-something government informants there that day. I think it was probably higher than that. How many of them did destruction, Mike? How many of them were charged? Because as far as I'm concerned, it's against every FBI policy to you to partake in any crimes as a federal informant. So if you did do destruction there, or you did incite violence or incite an insurrection, you're a criminal. What's your thoughts on President Trump's pardons?
Well, first I'm going to unpack what you first said about the attacks on me. They've actually higher than now than they've ever been. You just don't see it in the media. Keith Ellison is attacking my Lindell Recovery Network. You got the IRS is massively attacking me for different things. And going back to 20 and 21, the years that I would fight, with the stolen election. So that's going on. And My Pillow is the most attacked company in history. Now, why are they still attacking me? They're attacking me because I want to get rid of the voting machines and go to paper ballot, hand counted. And I know that they're going, if we can, everyone else going, well, most people, our great president, Donald Trump's in, it's over. Look at, we won. We don't have to worry about elections. Well, I got news, everybody. They stole 4 senators minimum in this last election and at least 9 congressmen. We've got to secure our elections before the midterms. That's one bucket. As far as the January 6th, complete pardon across the board. Even if they did, I know some that did fight back, that did break, but they've been in prison for 4 years without even, this is craziness. When you got stuff that, criminals they've let out that have done stuff that they just let off the hook. Where do you draw the line? It's be subjective on each one. It should have never happened. It was a setup. It was a total setup. We know that. And the way I see it is, unless you went back in and said, well, this one's did this, and let's say you say, okay, this one's did this, and you segregate it out and say, well, gee, the punishment should have been 2 years, and he's already done 4. I mean, you could go through each one, and I'm sure they had a team go through them all and say, you know what, this is a mass. It's just pardon them. Put this behind this for what it was. It was a way to silence the memory. You remember, John, I have said the 2 most important days, I believe, in our country's history will be January 7th and 8th of 21, the day after the January 6th stuff. The reason is everyone when you woke up on January 7th, 1.2 million Americans are deplatformed because of if you talked about the election, if you talked down about Jesus Christ, or if you talked against the vaccine. It was like they saved it all up. Deplatformed everybody off Zuckerberg's Facebook, Jack Dorsey's corrupt Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, everything. You were silent. You were gone. Yeah, the president lost his Twitter. Remember, 100 million people. And the rest of the people were put into fear. They wouldn't even think about saying anything now about what really went on January 6th. Yeah, it's a very tragic day for our country, but you know what? And you look back, all these things had to happen to get to where we're at. I've said it before, God uses all things for good. A lot of those people that were in there, I know they ended up being saved, became born again Christians, and a lot of them in there, their families and stuff looking at the outside, and the nonsensical, there's many people on the left that were, the brainwash going, hey, this is wrong. When the truth started coming out about what really went on, this is wrong. This is a friend of mine, and he just went down there and a peaceful rally. John, I spoke at the Supreme Court out in front. I was the MC on December 14th of 2020. There was hundreds of thousands of people. There were six guards in front of the Supreme Court, spread out about 40 yards apiece. That was it for security. There wasn't even an argument there. It was you know what I mean? And that's, across the board.
Yeah, I agree with you. I can deal with a few people doing the crime and paying the price. I mean, like you said, some of them sat in jail for 2-3 years. What's the price of breaking a window, Mike? It's not 4 years in jail. It's whatever it is, misdemeanor. They didn't burn down the Capitol, Mike. They didn't set the chambers on fire. In fact,
no, they did not.
We saw, Mike, the folks in there were telling everybody, do not damage this place. Do not do any destruction. This is a sacred place. You're in here to walk around. Do not do any damage. No. Okay. Maybe there were some people who broke windows. What's the crime for breaking a window, Mike? Is it 4 years in jail? Is it solitary confinement? Is it torturing you and ruining your life? Is that what the crime is? Because if that's the crime, then I want to go back. And next segment, we're going to talk about relitigating the 2020 election, because I know it's something you and I and the great Lou believed in. But if that's fine, if that's the crime, 4 years in jail for breaking a window, let's go back and relitigate what happened in Minnesota. Why don't we go back and relitigate
exactly
in 2020 when they burned down police stations, when they burned down car lots, when they tried to ruin Kyle Rittenhouse's life? Let's go back and relitigate that if you want to do that. How about the other criminal acts that the Biden administration has allowed to happen? How about the border invasion that they've allowed to happen? The millions and millions and millions of people that they've allowed to flow into this country as freely as they wanted. I've got some good numbers for you. This is from Fox News. They used a Sunday as a number, as a study number. Less than 600 people illegally crossed into the U.S. from Mexico on Sunday night, a stunningly low number since Donald Trump took office. Sources tell Fox News that not a single one of the 9 border sectors, received more than 200 crossings on January 26th. And that number for daily encounters only reached 582 in total. The Del Rio sector, which is the same sector that would sustain 4,000 crossings per day, Mike, 4,000 a day in the height of the border crisis in 2023, only received, you ready for this, 60 crossings. Imagine that, Mike. Now, Donald Trump doesn't have any special new tools. He doesn't have anything that Joe Biden didn't have. He's got that same wall that's there. He's got the same National Guard. He's got the same military. And you know what, Mike? He has the same help that Greg Abbott afforded Joe Biden. So why is there border crossings that are down hundreds of percent with the same tools that Joe Biden had?
Well, I think, I think a lot of it, you mentioned the governor, Greg Abbott, and he's a friend of mine. And, as you know, there was a time where in Texas, everybody's on him, do more, do more, do more. And there's other politicians too, all across our country, anyone that was a border state. Why didn't they do everything they could have done, or at least pushed it in the media as far as they could? Well, the media would cover that part up, number one. And I believe that they're politicians. So they're looking, I've got to get, elected. I got to stay in this space here instead of going over here and doing what's 100% common sense. So these one of the things, the phenomenon of our great president, Donald Trump, is people now are pouring into this common sense bucket. It's him alone going, hey, this is common sense. You just do it. You don't say, just like our great vice president said, I don't care, Margaret. This is Donald Trump going, I don't care. This is the right thing to do. We don't have time to talk about it. We're going to lose our country. We're going to lose everything. And these governors and these politicians, I think now that they're all, they're going forward with no fear now and jumping on and helping Donald Trump, where he didn't get the help in his first term. Yeah. And he certainly was ignored the last 4 years. He had to fight for every inch, as we keep saying. The election was stolen. The election was stolen. You know how many times he was told by people, just give up on that. Let's just move forward. Put that behind you. Don't talk about it. You think he listened? No. He said, no, I'm never letting up on that. Yeah. And so I really believe it's just like now. Judges are going to get, who wants to be the first judge ever to say, throw another thing in there. They say, hey, let's get rid of the electronic voting machine.
Let's hold on. Let's take a quick break because I want to take a segment on that to talk about that. We're coming right back with the great Mike Lindell. Stay with us.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you that we're making it through. My employees and I want to thank you for your continued support by extending our wholesale prices on classic MyPillows. Get standard classic MyPillows only $14.98. I can't believe I'm even saying that. Only $14.98. But it gets even better. Upgrade to a queen size MyPillow for just $18.98. King size only $1 more. Get my body pillows $29.98 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including my standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now only $14.98. Queens $18.98, Kings only $1 more. Not only that, order $75 or more, ship absolutely free.
From all of us here at MyPillow,
thanks America!
Folks, we're back with the great Mike Lindell. Mike, real quick before we turn to election integrity, it's something that's stuck in my head since this last segment about Keith Ellison going after the Lindell Recovery Network. Your network, your profit, non-charity, your charity that you've started for addicts, recovering addicts. It's totally disgusting. People don't realize you donate a vast amount of the money that you make each and every year. I watched you on, I don't remember what it was. It was Jimmy Kimmel or something, where he said, Mike, you make hundreds of millions of dollars in this. And you looked at him simply and you said, I donate it all. And for the people who don't know you, you're a pretty regular guy. You're not walking around wearing Gucci shoes and, Gucci hats and stuff like that. And it's truly sad to see that these people are just such scum that they'd go after something that in the times in America, especially the recovery network you have with the drug problem we have in this country right now as a former addict yourself, that they would go this low. These are the same people, Mike, who allow fentanyl to roam their streets and all types of drugs and heroin to roam their streets. Yet they come after you for sitting on the outside, donating your own money, your own time to try to help these people because you know what it was like to live that life. So I just had to get that off my chest because it's truly disgusting.
It's very sad. It's the Lindell Recovery Network.org, everybody. It's free for any addict to go there. If anybody wants to donate, you can donate. I did it all myself before it was, I put it all in. I built the site. We put millions into it over the last, I think it's been up for 7-8 years now, 6, 7, 8 years. Millions have been saved by it and helped, and it's free. And for Keith Ellison, the Attorney General of Minnesota, to come and attack, this just happened this week again, where he piled on. First, he went after the year 2020 and 21, and then now he's piled it on. We have to go all the way back. I basically told me, you're out of your mind. There's been how can you do anything wrong, John, when all the money came from me, right? Yeah. All the money came from me. What are you looking at this C3 for to say what? Did Mike Lindell take some money and use it for his own purposes? I put in all the money. Give me a break here. It's disgusting.
And you know what you're entitled to. Yeah, you're as a founder and the CEO of a 501c3, you're entitled to use expense accounts, to use travel or whatever. You're
I
entitled
never
to
did
it.
anything though.
I understand. I'm just saying the legality of it all, Mike. And it's not like you're running some sort of crazy business. You run My Pillow.
Right.
It's one single company. You get money that comes in, you get money that goes out. Your tax returns are probably more sophisticated than mine, but far less sophisticated than the tax returns of JP Morgan or Bank of America.
Right.
So, if there's any wrongdoing there, it's probably very easy to catch. It's such a total joke. There's far too many bad actors out there who are actually cheating our tax system that they should worry about rather than going after you. But hopefully with Donald Trump in town, these attacks will stop because it's all politically motivated. There's nothing there. As far as I'm concerned, the way I know you.
Well, I'm just telling you, the reason everyone asks yourself, why aren't they stopping with Mike Lindell or My Pillow? They're not stopping because why? What do I stand for?
Paper
Get
ballots.
rid of the voting machines and go to paper ballots in our country like 132 other countries have done around the world. That's what the real motive is here.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's turn to first the way forward, and then I want to go backwards and talk about 2020 and the relitigation of that. So what is the way forward, Mike? You had mentioned earlier in the show that there were races that were probably stolen, and I would agree with you on that. You look at the races out in California, and these people just relented, a lot of them rhinos, and said, all right, we concede, you stole it from us. You had that, I think it was Michelle Steele or Valido in California. Mike, they were up by the Republicans are up by 1,500 votes. 2 weeks. Trickle down.
Right.
10 votes one day, 20 votes one day, 60 votes one day. And Mike, it got down to like a margin of 0.5%, 1/4%. And they said, okay, election's over. The Democrat won. And the Republicans sat there and they said, okay, that's fine. We'll roll over on our back. Lost this election. First of all, that's fine with me. I don't care if they lost that election, if the election was stolen from them. You know why? Because if they didn't have the guts to fight for it, they shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's the way I look at it, right? But it shouldn't happen to people because there are going to be people who are going to fight back. And we know what happens to the people who fight back against stolen elections in this country, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the way forward. I have over 300,000 people on the ground with the Cause of America. We have the Election Bureau, the new app Vocal Social, VOCL.com, everybody. Get on it. Okay. Everything we've done for 4 years, now we have other tools to combine with that. I have a good friend of mine that's pretty high up, so we're coming from the top down, but also we still have things going on from the bottom up in every single state. And we will not stop because you know what? This can't be a Band-Aid. Everyone's going, Donald Trump's in, it's all going to be fixed. No, it will be a Band-Aid if we don't secure our elections. If you can plug into a computer, that right now we should have an overwhelming advantage in the Senate and the House. But when they planned this, I knew that Donald Trump was going to win. They're going, okay, it's going to be too obvious. Here, I'm going to bring it back a little bit. If I would have told you, John, this summer, said, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you China virus 2.0. Nobody would have done the same things we did and fell for that garbage again. Over the last 4 years, we've had loudmouths out there putting, hey, we got to get rid of the machines, got to get rid of the machines. Elon Musk got on board this summer with all the data and stuff we had. We've got to get rid of the machines back in June. That was Lou's biggest rallying cry before he passed. We've had to get this. He goes all the way back to 2004 and 5 when he said we got to get rid of them. The Democrats all wanted them gone, okay? So if I would have said to the public, or if I was evil, I'll call it evil, the uniparty, the deep state globalists said, hey, let's steal the election again from Donald Trump, okay? If they would have done that, I'll tell you what would have happened. Nobody would have fell for it. It would have been probably a faster route to get rid of the machines because everybody would demand it. No. Open them up right now. We're going to finally see what you're hiding. Open them up, every one of them. Crack them up like coconuts and can openers and let's see what's in there. And if they would have done that, there are two things would have happened. One is it would have been gone, but it would have been the biggest, I'd say, disaster. And I wouldn't say it wouldn't have been civil war. It would have been disaster. You would have had evil and good fighting at a level you never seen, clashing. So if I was their market, I'll say, you know what? We can't go that route. We're going to let Donald Trump We'll steal some from him to make it look good for the next election, which they did, everybody. They stole a lot from Donald Trump. Doesn't matter what you say. And then we're going to take enough of the senators, enough of the House, so that we can win it back in 2020 or 2026, steal it back. Okay. And then we'll try and attack that all the people that are working on to get rid of the machines. Well, that's why they're still attacking me and many others. And that's their plan. And now I'm telling you, we know if you have, I don't have time to explain on your show. We know if you take the computers out of our elections, like 132 countries that have banned them, and you do paper ballots, hand counted, like all these other countries, this country is upwards of 70% red, everybody. The new red, the common sense red, okay? So when you skim a casino, I've said it before, you skim everywhere. Now, you had standouts because those ones you mentioned in California and these other 4 senators, wow, why did it take longer to count their races? Because they had to make adjustments. They had to. It was the one thing that worked this time was when he said too big to rig, and everybody promoted that early voting. I did. It's horrible, right? Yeah. But the left or the uniparty did not count on that. So when you had these polls starting coming out, like in North Carolina, all these polls, that the Republicans were outvoting the Democrats in the early voting. Now all of a sudden on game day, you're going to say, boy, the Democrats all voted and they all voted the Republicans. You're only going to get away with that once, though, that early voting thing, because they're not going to let that happen again, because now evil's going to be prepared. So I say, we are not going to stop. My teams, we have litigation going on everywhere. You go back to, I'll just give everyone one example. If everyone remembers, in Georgia, there's a case that's been going on for years, the curling case against crooked Brad Rassenberger, where a guy, Alex Haldeman, a year ago, January, hacked in with a ballpoint pen and switched the whole election in front of the judge. The judge hasn't ruled on it yet. You know?
Why?
So great things going on.
Yeah, it's all you have to do is go back and look. Why are they so against it? It's such a simple concept, Mike. You put a vote. I mean, this was like the most simple form of balloting. It's still used in like class elections and stuff like that. It's still used in some countries. You put a piece of paper in, Mike. It's one vote, one person. I'll never forget. I was with you and Lou in Missouri about a year and a half ago for your election summit, and you had unrolled out this new device where you were able to tell what devices were online.
That's right.
Excellent, cool concept, right?
Yeah.
If the election machines are not online, then you should have no problem with someone walking into this. Lo and behold, within a day or within a week, Mike, I think it was Kentucky, first wants to come out and ban this thing. Why are you so nervous about us knowing if your election systems are online? Right. Why are they online in the first place?
Right.
It makes you wonder. It makes you think, well, what are these people hiding? What are they so nervous about? You had mentioned Georgia. Your good friend, Kemp, I think he's running for the Senate. So I guess it might be a blessing in disguise, Mike, if you put him in a group of 100 people. He can't really do anything that stupid. And we get someone in Georgia who's like an America First person. I look at it as a blessing in disguise. Get rid of this guy. I know he's terminated out, but, don't let him put one of his people in. It's a deal Donald Trump's got to make. That's fine. You want to run for the Senate, I'll endorse you, but we're putting in America First governor, because the job of governor is far superior, Mike, as you well know, to a congressman of 435 or a senator of 100. So speaking on that front, those 100 and those 435 have a very important role over these next 4 years, over these next 2 years. And that's where we're going to turn to, and that's relitigating the 2020 election. And one of President Trump's first executive orders, President Trump said it directed his attorney general. Now, Pam Bondi's not in yet, but we expect she will be very shortly. He directed his attorney general to look into everything. Now, do we have confidence in Pam Bondi that she's going to go ahead and look into what needs to be looked at?
Absolutely. I've been telling my teams, everyone he's put in, they're on my phone. I became friends with many of them, including Pam Bondi. Just you've got Governor Kristi Noem overlooking way underneath is CISA, the corrupt CISA. I mean, all these things that are in place. Like I say, I'll have tools we didn't have before to be able to get to the finish line. It's not just the 2020 election is a perfect example because the deviations stand out so far. You have more votes than voters in Pennsylvania. Somebody explain that. It's impossible. Okay. We've all seen the chart, John, where it says, for Biden, 60 some million Democrats voted for Biden in the first election, 64, 65 million for Biden in the second. Same with Hillary, 64, 65. All of a sudden, Biden, 83 million or 81 million, and then back to Harris, 63 million. You guys, 15 million people. You can't even steal an election with that many, with that 50 million without the use of a computer. It's mathematically impossible. You can't create that many fake ballots and people to, hey, let's go vote for Biden and cheat. It's impossible. And all these people he's put in, including Pam Bondi, that's going to be a high concern, a high priority to secure our elections. Now people go, well, you got to go back and fight and prosecute those that did it. I've been saying for years, let's melt down the machines and turn them into prison bars. That's the end goal. But you guys, I want to say the biggest win we have in my realm here is we broke through the biggest cover up of the biggest crime in history. And it's because of our voice getting so big, including your great show here, John, that you've carried on with the great Lou Dobbs, the Great America Show. By our voice never giving up and saying, hey, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. And to have that example of the 2020 election, it happens all over the place, but we're able to now have these tools we didn't have before to get to there's a reason 132 countries have banned electronic voting. There's also over 100 countries that ban early voting and mail-in voting. Yeah. Everybody just watched Taiwan. That's way too slow of a system, but we watched it on TV. Everybody see the ballot? Boom, boom, check. Because it meant that they lose their country or don't lose their country. This is where we're at, everybody, but we're in a great place with all the tools that are in place. And I look at it like we got 18 months to get rid of everything and get to the most secure elections in history. We need to be the gold standard, not the worst in the world. And we will be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the price we pay, Mike, is hopefully it far surpasses everything else. At any given moment, you've already gone through it, but any given moment, they can deplatform us. They can deplatform me. Yeah. Chase Bank, American Express, they've already done it to you. They could do it to everybody. But I think the tides have turned. These people all are now on their knees begging for forgiveness. You look at Mark Zuckerberg, you look at Jeff Bezos, and they, some people were mad that Trump invited them. I was happy because they all look like such fools. They all look like such kiss asses, and they're such total fools. No. This is a man they were calling Hitler just months ago, Mike. This is a man they were calling a narcissist, a sociopath, a racist, a xenophobe, a misogynist. These are all the same people doing that, and they're in his house now. So you look like the total fool, not Donald Trump. You want to come there and kiss the ring, that's fine. It's all documented. We have it all on camera. We have it all on video.
That's right.
As you like to say. Mike, I know you're short on time. I appreciate you joining us today. You get the last word here.
Yeah, I just like I've said, everybody, we're in times of miracles right now. I mean, these are miracles happening. And all the bad things we went through, there's still going to be bad things. Evil is not going to surrender, everybody. They're sitting back with the new plan, reorganize. And I'm not talking the Democrat Party, everybody. I'm talking the uniparty deep state globalists. They're backing off going, now, what can we do? They absolutely need the tool to steal elections in order to even have a chance anymore. We take away that from them, and we free the world. I mean, it's going to be amazing. We can't let this be a Band-Aid with our great real president. I would want everybody, if you can get involved, go to lindellplan.com. It's all laid out there, and the election bureau, everything, all the stuff we're going to be doing now as we move forward. I'm kind of at the tip of the spear on that, and I have been, and I'm not stopping. We're going through. And I mean, it's a great time in history, everybody. But everybody's got to still do their part. Spread the word. Go get on every social media platform and spread the word. Spread this podcast. Share it. we've got it. One thing we have now that we didn't have then is they're not suppressing us. We all have voices now. Let's use them. Let's use them, everybody. So God bless you, John, and keep going. And I encourage everybody to just sound the alarms and sound the truth and sound the great things going on, because you got people over here that still need to be brought into the bucket.
Yeah, God bless you too, Mike, and all the work you do. I know Lou's down in heaven smiling down. He loved and adored you and all the work that you did and sacrifices. And we encourage everyone to head over to mypillow.com/John and buy all your MyPillow products, sheets, pillows, slippers, all that good stuff. Mike Lindell, you're a great.
By the way, I want to tell everyone about we now have the crosses like the one I wear for 20 years. You guys, you can get 30% off. And then also we have the towels, $29.98. We have the flannel sheets while they last. Queen size $59.98. King size $69.98. So John, what promo code do you have?
John, it's nice and easy, Mike.
John, that's it, everybody. That's easy to remember. It's
almost
the best
like
promo
Mike.
code in the world. Get over there and get in your. It's a win-win-win. You're helping MyPillow, my employees. You're helping this great show to get the word out, and you're helping yourself to the best products and the biggest discounts ever.
Absolutely true. I use MyPillow every night. I practice what I preach. Mike, we'll talk to you soon. You're a great American. Thanks so much.
Thanks, John. God bless.
Thanks, everybody, for being with us today. Be sure to join us back here tomorrow for the Great America Show, where our quest for truth, justice, and the American way continues. We'll see you back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Until then, may God bless you, God bless America, and may God bless the great Lou Dobbs.